Greetings, I'm John the Spirit.
I'm Arch Ezekiel.
This is a Dragon Head, and welcome to Ultimate Alchemy Recap Supershorts. If you want to get draconium and progress into draconic evolution, you need to use bricks in a metal press with a dragon head. Because we are very dumb, we thought that you needed to use the dragon head once for every single craft of brick into draconium, and that you needed to make dragon heads every single time. That is not true. You just need to make this thing once. That didn't make it any less of a doozy. There are a variety of basic gates you need to be able to make the dragon head. You've seen most of them, but the last one you need is the Gaia fight. Now, as it happens, right now there's a massive stack of chorus fruit in the middle of our Gaia arena, but it should be fine. I have some footage of the Gaia fight from when it actually happened that does not involve having chorus fruit everywhere. Just kidding, we're finished with the game as of recording this video, so Arch is just gonna chop it all down. Alright, so the Gaia Guardian is Botania's final boss, which is a bit silly to say final boss because Botania never had any bosses other than the Gaia Guardian, but you know. The Gaia Guardian does a variety of things during its fight, including giving you Wither and spawning a bunch of mobs. And there are lots of ways to take random damage, including from purple blankets of magic on the floor that can hurt you and get you stuck in them. Flying is also disabled, and hitting the Gaia up close is pretty difficult. So you need access to some ranged weaponry, good armor, the ability to regenerate, and maybe a few other benefits if you can help it. First, let's talk about how you summon the Gaia Guardian. The Gaia Guardian requires an arena that's at least a circle 12 meters in radius. At the center of that circle, I think one block above, you need a beacon. It doesn't need to be much of a beacon, but it needs to be a beacon. And 4 Gaia pylons must be arranged around it in a square. 1 block above the beacon. That is definitely necessary. In order to prepare for the fight, we set Arch up with several things. I mentioned in the past that we got Arch a Terra Steel armor with protection 4. But we also got Arch a blade, a Terra Steel blade with, was it sharpness 5?
Mhm.
The Terra Steel sword is really helpful because it can shoot ranged attacks during the swing, so you can hit the Gaia Guardian from afar off. In order to give Arch regeneration, we use something completely different. The RF Tools Environmental Controller, which, when supplied with various modules, can provide potion effects to anyone within the radius. To get the Regeneration Plus Environmental Module, which gives a Regen 3 bonus, we needed syringes of iron golems, and luckily, we had lots of iron golems sitting around in our villager farm right here. They were not happy with us. To use the syringe, punch a mob, and it'll slowly fill up to 10. You can see that the Iron Golem is not able to throw Arch because of the Terra Steel armor, which I find hilarious. You can see that the syringe is now at an essence level of 100%. I believe you can use syringes to spawn mobs using RF tools, but we just used it to make the Regeneration Plus module. You can set the cylindrical radius of your RF Tools Environmental Controller at the top and change the height Y levels that it affects. Each module costs a certain amount of RF tick per cubic block. With the height and radius we picked, it only cost 34 RF per tick to run this, which was cute, because we didn't have that much RF at the time. To actually allow players to benefit from it, you can either add them to the list and click WL, so whitelist, so players in the list above will get the effects. That wasn't working for us for some reason, so we used blacklist and put no one in the list, and then Arch got regeneration. If I set redstone mode to ignored and then fly up to within the Y range where the regeneration effect applies, I'll get it as a potion effect. To start the Gaia fight, shift right click on a beacon. Oh no. So that was a fake start, just to test out the volume control for y'all, so it wasn't way too loud. But now Arch is actually going to start the fight after I enter spectator mode. Okay, now Arch can start the fight and I'll be able to watch. Here is the summoning graphic. You'll notice the purple coming in from the Gaia pylons to summon the Guardian. You cannot fly during the Gaia Guardian fight, and if someone is flying while just outside the fight, they will get sucked into the fight. These purple carpets of magic on the floor do damage, and if the bats from the Gaia Guardian attack Arch, they'll give him Wither. You'll notice that the Gaia Guardian frequently teleports around when Arch gets near enough to hit him, which is why Arch needs to use the sword. The sword's ranged effect. Excuse us while Arch makes several more Terra Steel so that we can continue doing retakes of that fight. This is round 4, probably. In our last take, the Guardian of Gaia inexplicably disappeared halfway through, and maybe it was something about me being in spectator mode, so we're gonna see if that happens again.
Is
It
he, like,
did
underneath
happen
or
again,
something?
even earlier than last time, and we have no idea where it is. Arch can still hear it teleporting, but it seems to be gone. Okay, this time I'm not going to be in spectator mode while this happens. I'm just going to try and not get sucked in. While I may be damaged right now, I am at least... The Guardian of Gaia hasn't disappeared completely yet.
Fall off.
Okay, Arch has just watched it fall off, so we're going to need to extend the range of our platform. Okay, I've extended the size. Hopefully the Gaia Guardian does not literally fall off this time. We must have just gotten lucky in our first fight where this didn't happen. I hope you all enjoy getting to see me randomly flung into the Gaia Guardian fight while I attempt to narrate it. But here we are able to see phase 2 where the Guardian of Gaia stops actually fighting and starts giving you mobs that spawn to try and kill you. Including me, because I keep being a dumbass. Shoot me already! God, idiots! Anyway, Arch is busily killing them all. And at some point, the Guardian of Gaia comes back down to keep fighting. Once you defeat the Guardian of Gaia, you should get a Gaia Spirit, at least as long as it doesn't fall off the edge into the void. Please do not let that happen in your playthroughs. You just need one Gaia Spirit, because as long as you get the first one, you can use a Conjuration Catalyst. Although it looks like the recipe takes half a mana pool, all mana costs for mana infusion are multiplied 10 times when in JEI. Just so it's easier to see. So you can always divide something like this by 10. So we could, technically, make about 20 Gaia Spirits using one full mana pool with a Conjuration Catalyst. But you don't need that many. The reason you need the Gaia Spirit is for the Dragon Tongue from Content Trigger, which also requires a Rune of Greed and a Rune of Gluttony, which don't require anything too crazy. We've shown you how to make cakes before, and wheat and saplings are just fine. So, with the Gaia Guardian fight down, we can get our first ingredient for the Dragon Head, the Dragon Tongue. Conveniently, we also got the Zombie Brain, because we killed the zombie. But you can also get a Zombie Brain in a Crucible with Magic Tallow, Cognitio, and Exonimus. And the Magic Tallow is Rotten Flesh and Ignis. The next of many doozies was the Dragon Horn, which is made in an Empowerer with empowered Emeradic Crystals, Diamantine, and Pallas. To use an Empowerer, you need an Empowerer and 4 display stands which hold the items that go into the craft. Each of the display stands takes power, while the Empowerer itself does not. Once all of the ingredients are on the pedestals for the Empowerer, it'll start running, and we have an acceleration one to make it go really, really quickly. Otherwise, the Empowerer can be a really long process, which is why some people try and come up with ways to parallelize the Empowerer, which is a lot harder than it looks, let me tell you. And there's definitely not a video about it in my Age of Engineering playthrough using RF Tools Control. At the time we got the Dragon Horn, we did already have diamonds, but we actually were able to get normal diamantine crystals by trading with a crystallizer villager who trades for crystals. Empowering the diamantine requires silver, light blue dye, and quicksilver, which is made... There's a few ways. You can cast mercury in a gem cast, or you can smelt cinnabar in a redstone furnace, but not a normal furnace, as it happens. The Pallas is, I'm pretty sure, the normal recipe. You just get the prismarine using atomic reconstructor and quartz, and I think that's a vanilla recipe from Actual Editions. And then the Emeradic Crystal was also completely normal. The next ingredient we'll talk about is the Dragon Hide, which requires you have 100 GP and leather in the resonator. Now, we could have used any one of the numerous grid point methods, but instead we used the Dragon Egg Mill. To get the Dragon Egg, you just need an egg and void vapors, which are made in a magma crucible using void seeds. It does take an hour to run the time machine making Dragon Egg, but if you just put 3 mechanical users facing each other and the time machine, then you can accelerate it a lot more. Which is how we were able to make 10 Dragon Eggs later when we needed them. To actually make the Dragon Egg Mill, you need nether stars, which is why we waited until we'd slain the Wither and replicated it to make this. The Dragon Egg Mill generates a whopping 500 power for the first Dragon Egg. The second mill will only generate 250, I believe, so it's rapidly de-escalating rewards, but 500 is already a lot of grid power. And that's how we got the Dragon Hide. Next up, let's talk about Dragon's Breath. Dragon's Breath can only be filled, by the way, using a fluid transposer. You can't right-click on a tank with a glass bottle to make Dragon's Breath, because I guess Dragon's Breath is a special item or whatever. To actually make the Dragon's Breath, you need to use a refinery with void vapors, which I've talked about before, they need void seeds, and liquid chorus. But how do you get chorus? You can squeeze popped chorus fruit, and you can get your first chorus flower by pouring liquid... Wait, how do I get... You get your first liquid chorus by using protein soup with an ender pearl in the fermenter. And as we've seen before, protein soup is biomash, which you get from an Actual Editions knife with any food. Once you have your liquid chorus, you can get dragon's breath in a refinery. Liquid chorus was also useful to get the dragon eye, which requires the third eye, which is just a bunch of stuff we had already. The logic director is what requires the crystallized chorus chunks, which you can just get with a squeezer of popped chorus fruit, or you can solidify liquid chorus into blocks of crystallized chorus. And then the void metal nuggets come from void metal, which is a void seed in a crucible with metallum and vidium. We had to use the thermionic fabricator, which is a device from forestry that consumes sand or glass to make liquid glass whenever you have all the necessary ingredients for a recipe. Yet another horrifically annoying ingredient was the dragon scale. While getting the essentia for the dragon scale was easy with our file automatic creation system, getting the iridium was not. We needed 2 iridium plates. The best way to get iridium is by smelting platinum ore in a pyroconcentrator with cinnabar. But how do you get the platinum? Well, you can get the platinum from platinum ingots, which come from, in a pyroconcentrator, nickel ore and cinnabar. So in order to guarantee 2 iridium, we needed to make 18 platinum to make the 2 platinum ore, and that required 18 nickel ore, which was a lot of nickel. Thankfully, using auxiliary sieves heavily increases the chance that you get these secondary outputs, so we didn't need to use as much nickel ore after all. The final ingredient is these dragon fangs. Getting the milk was easy because we had cows already, but remember, you can get milk in a fermenter with protein soup and sugar. The manulin was a lot more difficult. To get molten manulin, you need to alloy molten cobalt and ardite. Molten cobalt is an alloy of liquid death, gelid cryothium, water, and essence of true blue. Water and essence of true blue we already had. To get the gelid cryothium, you need cryothium dust, and we already talked about how you can get blizz powder in a fluid transposer with liquid XP or essence of knowledge and snowballs. Finally, to get the liquid death, you need to put a bucket in a crucible with 10 mortus, 50 perdicio, and 20 alchemia. The ardite is no easier. You need nether meat, which is a fermenter with nether rack and protein soup, which I think we've seen before. Lava and blazing pyrotheum, which are easy enough. The empowered oil is a bit annoying. To get empowered oil, you need canola oil first, which you get from squeezing canola. Once you get canola oil, you can fractionating still it into refined canola oil. In normal actually additions, you can also use the fermenting barrel to do this. Funny enough, the recipe to make refined canola oil from canola oil in a fermenting barrel is not actually in JEI. Once you have refined oil, you can drop crystallized seeds into it, just one, and that'll convert it into crystallized oil, which is a pink oil you can see here. Crystallized canola seeds come from an atomic reconstructor with canola seeds. Once you have the crystallized canola seeds, you can drop empowered canola seeds in it, which we just saw the recipe for. That's just a crystallized canola seed and 4 canola. And in a moment, we should see that the empowered crystal seed is getting dropped into the oil and turning it pink. I'll show you this automation in a later video. But once you have your empowered oil, you can make your molten ardite, and then your manulin, and you can finally have your dragon fangs. With all those ingredients, you just need the essentias Spiritus, Alienus, and Tenebrae, which of course we got using our file making system. And now I will show you pre-recorded footage from when we were making the dragon head for the first time. Now that we have painstakingly crafted all of the items for the dragon head ritual and put them around the runic matrix, along with the 3 essentia, Spiritus, Tenebrae, and Alienus, the infusion is very stable, so it doesn't really require us to put things on opposite sides, but we did anyway because it was pretty, and also because if you look at the recipe of the dragon head, the things are already on opposite sides. I had to specifically curate this. Arch was just going to shove this shit down with no thought. More accurately, Arch wanted to put things opposite each other, and I was like, yes, you can, because the recipe is already designed that way. Anyway, I was anal about this. It doesn't matter. Arch, just start the ritual, please. Wow, here we go. I don't know if y'all want to see this whole thing, so I'm just going to make it appear at random moments. It is a little slow. Here's the Alienus now, and now the Tenebrae, and now the items are getting sucked in, and very soon we will have our dragon head. Let's just hope nothing gets popped off, although I think that's highly doubtful. Because this is a stable infusion, TM. Yay!
Wow.
Look, Arch is a dragon. Hello, Arch. Are you going to eat me? Oh no. I have just been taught this trick about dragon heads. Look at this marvel. Just a redstone torch. This is how silly the dragon head looks as a press in the metal press in Immersive Engineering. Arch is now going to make our very first draconium ingot, and hopefully the dragon head doesn't get used up when we do this. It probably won't. That was funny. Yep, it didn't get used up. Yay! Draconium, we've got it! Alright, that is the end of pre-recorded footage. And it's also the end of the episode. In the next episode, we'll talk about how we ran the rainbow generator, and why our platform is covered in so much snow. As always, if you have any comments for other viewers on how to succeed at this mod pack or any of the mods we're using therein, please let them know. We, unfortunately, have already recorded all these episodes and can't change anything in our world. But anyway, see you in the next one!